Welcome back to Overdunk, everybody. This is your favorite competitive Pokemon UNITE podcast, and we are in episode 93. My name is Zoinks, here as usual, and I am joined by Bridget and Deucenex. No order this time. I've changed my ways. I love these two too much to really make them fight amongst each other for my love instead. So I will not do that. Instead, we will all be fighting and bickering with each other about what EX Pokemon is strongest. Look forward to that. Tier list in the future. I don't know. It's hard to put on a smile, folks, with the state of the game right now, but that is not going to keep me from finding out how my two co-hosts are doing. Bridget, how you doing? How was your Pokemon Day today? Happy Pokemon Day, by the way.
Happy Pokemon Day. My dad actually texted me this morning and said, "Did you know that it's International Pokemon Day?" And I said, "Yes, I did."
Thank you, Father. I did.
Yeah.
But thanks for the reminder.
My holiday. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, it's crazy. I feel like I used to look forward to Pokemon Day so much, and now it's just always a mixed bag.
Yeah. That's
so,
something.
You know.
Okay, fair enough. Deuce, how about you?
Yeah, so I historically have not, and today was no surprise to me, I have not cared about Pokemon Day. So I tune in because I think it's reasonable to be somewhat aware of the goings on. Nothing that was showed today excited me at all.
Really? Not even Marvel Snap Pokemon? I thought maybe Marvel Snap Pokemon cards would maybe be up your alley.
That's so true.
I'm there for it, but I didn't get excited. Once it's released or it's actually but I'm not oh yes, it's gonna be here sometime in the next 10 months or whatever.
I did sum up all of the internet pretty well in that sentence. I think that's pretty good.
So for me, my day pretty much. I went to bed early last night. And so my day was pretty much ruined from the jump checking social media, because the thing I care about and that's active right now is Pokemon UNITE, and it's an absolute turd sandwich. There's some shining aspects of it, and I'm not talking about the shiny spray. Then the rest is just absolute dog water. So let's get into it.
Yeah, we may as well, right? Okay. I said we should start with Pokemon Day to start this episode with a bright spot, but well, I don't know. Let's get into it, everybody. Just for an announcement, of course, last night or today, there was a big patch introduced to the game. A bunch of stuff has come out with this most recent patch. A host of balance changes have entered into the game, mostly buffs for a bunch of Pokemon. Notable missing nerfs for a bunch of Pokemon, but say what you will, we'll break those down in a little bit throughout the episode. But the major things were Miraidon was reintroduced to the game, EX Pokemon, we all knew already. It's very strong. It's giga broken. We all knew it was going to be, but it's now in the game. The ranked ladder will now have EX Pokemon available again. So last season was no EX Pokemon. This one they are allowed, and there's no limit on the amount of EX Pokemon, which I, for one, was holding out a little bit of hope that maybe they would keep the one restricted license per rule. I wouldn't even like that. I would prefer none, but I was hoping that maybe, but nope, they're all available. And they actually already hotfixed the fact that once you hit Masters, you were limiting it to no EX licenses, but then they apologized for that mistake and have already corrected that. So EX Pokemon are now in any point of ranked. As far as I'm aware, the draft changes for ranked are a go, but all 10 players do have to be ranked 1400. There is no separate queue, as far as I know, unless I am wrong. Have either of you heard anything about that particular? Maybe chat can let me know too. I am assuming, since I've heard nothing, that it is still that way, and there's no separate queue, just all 10 players have to be 1400 plus.
I saw, I think, Shingdi tweeted that they got 1400, and from their screenshot, they were in the ranked queue or whatever. It didn't look like there was anything other than the duo or 5-stack from what I saw from that.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I don't think so either.
All right. So as far as we know, it's working as I guess we all begrudgingly knew it would. Now it's 1400 is where ranked is. It is experimental, they have said for quite a bit of time. We wish they would have brought more of a player base into that experiment, but it is the way. But the 2-ban is also in tournament play. It is available there. We'll be talking about the UCS rule announcements and all that balance patch and everything, but I think I just dumped a ton of information about what's happening to anybody who does not know about the game. So let's just kind of pull out a specific thing that is like kind of front of mind for all three of us. Like, what is the big thing about this patch that, for better or for worse, you can't just really stop thinking about in all this case? Oh yeah, and the shiny sprays here. It's not shiny Pokemon. It's just a glitter. You get it. Bridget, what in this certainly a patch of all time have you kind of been stuck on thinking about? What's been just kind of high level stuff before we get into it?
So I played Reset. I was duo queue.
Okay.
I was prepared. I was, really trying to mentally prepare for what I was about to face, and really nothing could have prepared me for the atrocities I witnessed in those lobbies. It's hard to describe. It feels like a different game right now than it did.
100%.
Like, astronomically different. Like, it just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my biggest takeaway. Is just I am almost shocked at how different these games feel.
Yeah.
I don't know, just because obviously there's just a lot of changes. Notably, all the EX mons being back in my lobby willy-nilly. So that's been interesting.
Interesting.
Okay, Dupes next. How about you?
The whole thing, it's annoying on so many levels, but just because I'm arbitrarily choosing one, and I will shit on all of them by the end of this thing, I'm sure. But EX licenses not being limited, when the whole point of an EX license, by their own word, is it's the team captain. How many team captains you get, dog? 3 a team? And that's just because there's only 3 that have been released?
Right.
How many co-captains we got out here? What are we talking about? And of course, they're all the most face-rolly characters, so your team captain doesn't have to have the best, the most skill? What are we talking about? This is, it's so ignorant. So they're not even following their own thing that they shoved down our throats. And back to the thing where I said before, it's like we've been having, the collective, the developers, whoever you want to put under this umbrella, have had so much trouble finding some semblance of balance amongst the character that they have. Adding EXs adds 2 more levels of balancing that they need to do. They need to do all the regular characters, they need to do all the EX characters to each other, and then they need to do EXs to regular characters, and obviously they've shown they can't do that. The best format we've had in this game for a year, and since we've been from Mewtwo Winter on, has been when they removed all the EX Pokemon and balanced the regular characters we got to play. It was fun then. You could still make gripes, but at least it was oh man, this actually feels like what I'm going to watch on a UCS Saturday. Yeah. And now we're so far away from that again. And there's people that are going to pick up this game just like Mewtwo at Worlds or whenever that was released, and people are going to go what the fuck is this? This is awful. It's a terrible experience. And I have to sit here like an asshole and say the best part of the game is the competitive aspect, which, by the way, unless you get 5 friends and you level up your game through this dog shit, you can't even compete, so you're only going to get 2 games out of that anyways. And I can't even build a correlation, and I just feel like an idiot. I feel like an idiot over and over again. Over and over again. And I care. Obviously, I care. I don't think I would be this animated if I didn't. Right. But it's why? Why do we keep stepping on this same fucking rake? What is this, Looney Tunes? Why do we run into a painted tunnel on a wall again? Again.
Yeah.
And then you say, oh, you like that medicine, spoonful of sugar for that shit, and it's buffing the characters that don't need it, that are the regular ones, not touching the ones that have been a problem. It's insane. And I wish I was as eloquent as Spriggles was in his 11-minute initial video they dropped this morning. But he's right. What are we doing out here? You did. It's the same problem. It's the
I know.
same. It's the same. It's the same.
Yeah, that's.
Same.
I'm really glad that that's how you're ending this Doomsday, because I 100% agree. Like, that is the biggest thing for me, is why. And Spraggle said it too. Why are we doing this again? Like, we have. How are we not learning this lesson? We're number 3 around the merry-go-round. I do think Zacian should be considered to be the. I mean, Mewtwo, I think, was technically worse, but
Why
like,
not?
yeah.
Why not? Buff Zacian, because in some world, we need this captain to be able to handle the new captain we just added. But oh wait, every team gets as many captains as they want. So now we've got infinite fucking captains everywhere doing whatever they want. The best characters in the game. So you have people like me like, oh, I'm gonna play Eldegoss this game and just get buckled in half because my character hasn't been touched in like 2 years. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Well,
You're so right.
folks, that's gonna be our episode today. We will continue the episode, but just so you know, that will be the episode for today. That's what we're looking forward to, everybody. Because yeah, that's what we're looking into. So I think the best place to start, and I say best in kind of a oxymoronic sort of way, but I think the place that we should start our episode is talking about Miraidon. It's the new release. We'll talk about the general patch and stuff later. But Miraidon, the newest EX license. We knew it was going to be this way. It sucks that it's this way. This design philosophy sucks. Ever since they introduced the concept of the EX Pokemon, I guess before that, they released without the EX license, and they're like, oh no, we gotta put a sticker on it to say it's okay. But anyway, all of this has been terrible, a terrible decision for the game, and we've seen the positive impact when you remove it. Whatever, we're back on this wheel again. This time, it's a dragon motorcycle that can drift and shoot infinite beams and call down meteors from space, which...
Yeah.
If I say that without context, that does sound like a kick-ass, super cool MOBA character, which I think someone in chat was saying it too. I'm so frustrated. The design of this character is actually sick. It's so fun. It doesn't need the passive. It doesn't need the insanely high damage number. It doesn't need the range or width that it has in all of its skill shots or beam attacks. But in general, I think it is cool. Every single part of it needs to be downclocked. But overall, I don't know. I think the design space, great. That's what Unite's always been good at. Balance, they have shown to be atrocious in every kind of fashion. And that's my thoughts on Miraidon. Any two thoughts that you two wanted to bring in about Miraidon? Bridge or Deduce next?
We heard you liked Leaf Blade, so what if we made
Oh,
it
yes.
twice the length and worse, and we made like a fire spin like move that covers up like half your screen and locks onto you, and you play Umbreon and you can't play, and it's really fun because you were told Umbreon was the counter, but I can't even get him within like the same screen before he does that, or Tokyo drifts across my screen. And
oh, but what if you went to your goal zone?
Like, what's happening?
What if you went to your goal zone to try to heal, but then you couldn't anymore because its passive actually slowed that effect? What about the counterplay, Bridget?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I should just we just need to group up and defeat them together, I think. Yeah.
Me and my two Mewtwo buddies will go take you down.
I could like barely even understand what was happening in some team fights because I'm just like, he is hitting me from so far away. I cannot even comprehend what is happening to me. Like, it's so much. It's so much.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I love it.
It's something else. Doopsnacks, any thoughts on Miraidon?
Cool. It's a cool design. When like every Pokemon they've added to the game has had a reasonably cool design. Yeah. Like that's not where they missed the mark here. So like I agree with you conceptually, like on paper, sure, pretty neato keen, gang. But you have to play with that shit now. You have to play with that shit now. And like, I'm hoping April's Cherry's comment, form a team to defeat the captain, is a tongue-in-cheek joke out here. Because like, this is like, remember how mad we got during like the Mr. Mime phase, where it was like Mr. Mime, Mew, and whatever it was, Glaceon?
Glaceon.
Like, this is infinitely worse than that. It's so much worse. Like, it's like, you can't even put into words how dog water this is.
Yeah.
It's and like, I played one game today with Miraidon because I was like, I am terrible. I am terrible. And I mean this to my core. I am terrible with attacking characters. I don't know what it is. I chose Thunder and like that beam attack thing. And I was telling Zoinks and Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, I was playing a game. I used my Unite move twice, didn't hit a soul because I was just aiming it in the wrong direction. And I didn't even do a charge beam because I couldn't figure that out in 10 minutes. And I did 65k damage pressing A and using Thunder.
Awesome.
That's like
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I am so trash at this game, and I racked up 65k and like 4 KOs, 10 assists by using one of my moves and A pressing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's ridiculous. A Thunder that tracks? What are we doing with Pikachu then?
Hey, we buffed
that thing gets.
We buffed full tackle. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I'm throwing up a bridge. Never mind. Cancel the podcast. I'm talking about everything. Like it's so good. I have no words. I don't know what we're doing. I don't understand. And Battle Hub had the double ban no EX thing today, and it was great. I watched that, and it was so cool and fun and exciting. Sick. And I know when we step into March for UCS, it's going to be sick. The teams are going to show out. This double ban draft thing is going to be exactly what I've been telling everybody it was going to be for the last year and a half. And then everybody that's gassed about it is going to fire up their Switch and go, oh, Christ, this isn't anything like that. This is like the 9th ring of hell. This is awful.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Double bans for the competitive folks, for all you viewers at home. Awesome. Gas up Miraidon. It'll sell more. You know what? It would have sold just fine with normal friggin' movesets.
Jim.
It was sold just fine with an EX license limit. It was sold just fine with it not allowed in master rank or whatever. Like, it would have been fine. It would have been fine. It would have made money hand over fist.
Yeah. I completely agree. We are in that spot, right, where Mewtwo worked for them. Clearly. Mewtwo was a successful business move for them in financials at the very least. So they're running it back, and it sucks. It sucks that we are living with this.
And that's
there's
my
just
fault.
No foresight, though, right? There's
that's
no foresight from these developers. I don't understand, but yeah.
Do you know why it's my fault? Because I logged on and bought Miraidon to play one game, just so I could validate what was going on. I am part of the problem. And you know what? If they weren't making $1 gazillion every time they release one of these things and maybe made like $500 gazillion, they'd go, ooh, maybe we should make our characters do normal stuff. Like how? And then now Phalanx is going to be released for 2 months. So we got to wait for the one thing everybody was actually excited about that was spoiled by El Chico Eevee because they can't even get ahead of their own stuff.
Yeah.
We can't even get gassed up. Then Phalanx is going to be dope. We got to wait 2 months for it. And then if they don't fix the game, it's going to be Phalanx is cool, but it's triple EX licenses on the other side with Blissey and Comfy, and here we go.
You know what would be insane is if I pitched to a League of Legends player, I was like, yo, we're putting Baron in as a playable character. We're gonna put essentially League of Legends version of Rayquaza, if this is your first MOBA, into the game as a playable character. Catch-up mode exists and it's fun. I get to fly around to Zapdos or whatever if I knock them out. That's super cool. Why are we taking boss rush level characters and throwing them into a ranked game? Well, we've been saying this for a couple of years now, and clearly nothing's changed. So. Fool me 400 times, I guess. It feels like we're kind of in that situation. Whatever. Let's get ready for eventual next EX Pokemon, folks. Who knows when it'll be coming up. Let's talk about the patch. Let's move on past Miraidon, because I think we've kind of said everything that can be said, unless you went on to throw anything else in there.
No, it's just depressing, truly.
Okay.
It is. It is.
Let's move on to the patch itself. But I guess before we actually jump into the actual patch notes specifically, we get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk a little bit about those rank changes that we talked about at the start of the show. Yes, ranked is allowed for draft mode, but only if all 10 players are 1400 plus. Great, whatever. And EX Pokemon are allowed again. What we did want to say with this, and why we talked about it a little bit before, and TubeStacks mentioned it, Bridget mentioned it, I think chat talked about it a little bit too. the UCS rules, we've already announced, or like the official Discord has already announced that March will not have any EX Pokemon banned. All EX Pokemon will be banned from the tournament. So no EX Pokemon are allowed for play. No Miraidon, no Mewtwo X, no Mewtwo Y, no Zacian. The good thing about that is that we get a break from it. And I feel like it's a decent amount of heads up for players to be able to practice and, I think we all could have maybe seen this coming, but that is a good thing. It does separate. It does suck that the ranked ladder will be a separate format from tournament play, but again, that's kind of the way it is. But at least if you watch UCS or participate in community tournaments, you probably won't have to deal with the EX Pokemon. Hope for the best. All right, let's talk about the patch. Shiny Rayquaza. We've already seen them. It's kind of cool. Sure, it doesn't do anything extra, but we've kind of always talked about how reflavoring the map every now and then, even in small ways, I don't think is a bad thing. Like, I think it's kind of cool. It's for partnership with the anime, if anyone doesn't know. Like, if Pokemon Unite is your only kind of headspace in the Pokemon sphere, Shiny Rayquaza is kind of coming everywhere. They believe their Rayquaza raids are back in Pokemon Go. VGC will probably do their raid and that kind of thing. Shiny Rayquaza, obviously a very big part of this first anime season with their new characters and everything. So just kind of a blanket-wide marketing approach. What if you're just got your head in the Unite sand, just for a bit of a background piece there. Battle Map Panic Parade's gonna come back. I genuinely like Panic Parade, so that's cool. Hollow Effect Spray is now available. Let's talk about it. It feels so small compared to everything, but Hollow Effect Spray is the game. It does not actually boost your stats like I genuinely believe it did.
Oh, yeah.
So this was the controversy. We talked about it a few episodes ago about how if this effect spray worked this way, and Alchigo Eevee data mined that they were supposed to be giving additional HP, attack, and special attack stats. And then Pokemon, like official Pokemon, contacted a few content creators and people to kind of publicize the information that is not the case and that is not true. Those numbers were in there at some point, and there was a stat block in there at some point that El Chico Eevee found. To call me a conspiracy theorist, but whatever. At this point in time, the spray does not have it. I've put it on my Trelvis press tree skin. I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. He's rainbow the whole time. It's kind of fun. How are you two feeling about Hollow Effect Spray? Bridget?
I haven't used it yet,
really?
but I watched when you do it. Yeah, because I was hopeful. I'm like, oh, what if they're shiny? That'd be so sick. I want to see someone do it, but obviously it's not that.
No.
The sparkles are cool. It's kind of cute, but I kind of was distracted by it. I guess maybe I would get used to it, but yeah. I'm a little scared it would overwhelm me.
I do think you get used to it. It is weird if you're used to looking for auras on your Pokemon. Like if I'm running Assault Vest and I'm like, is my bubble still up? And it's it's not. It can be kind of confusing in that way, I guess. But I don't know. I personally think it's fine. I think it's cool. If it shows its effect not just in game, and it's the entire game, by the way. It's not. I was worried it would be just in the speed zones. That was the only time it would have the effect, like some of the Holowares do. But it's also while you're in the loading screen for while you're choosing your Pokemon. So I think that's kind of cool. It looks really good with the Trevenant Elvis skin because of the stage effects and stuff. All right, whatever. I'm a Hollow Effect Spray believer. Duplex, I'm assuming you have no opinion on this.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a cool thing for the people that like it, and the people that don't have to use it. It's super free. It's fine.
Yes, and one of the parts is it's not free, which is good. You need to give something to the whales, right? You need the people who want to spend money to bling out their game. They will help financially support this game, so give them options. That's fine. I don't think anybody should really be upset about the Hollow Effect Spray existing. That is, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about some of the items. Muscle Band, Rapid Fire, Scarf, and Charging Charm all got that same change that was implemented on the public test server. If you were listening to this podcast, you didn't know what that was. Essentially, they were patched before so that they were hitting more. They had an internal cooldown. So Pokemon that were hitting multiple times and things like that had a bit of a change. That has been removed, and instead multiple hit moves like Charizard's auto attacks, Decidueye's chain hits, and things like that have been rebranded is not the word. Reclassified in game to be
Yeah.
one continuous hit of damage. Now, Unite TB does specify here, though, that some moves are not that way. Scyther Scizor's Technician will always hit for 2 hits. That's their passive. Buzzwole's Boosted Auto, where he like hits twice with his 2 fists. That is still 2 hits. Rapid Strike Urshifu, all those kind of things. They will still hit multiple times. It's only a few moves that have been classified as such. And they even say the internal cooldown being removed actually does like kind of buff some late game stages for Pokemon. Razor Leaf Desi, Cinderace, Dragapult, all Pokemon with the attack speed range where it will actually help. Because basically when their attack speed gets high enough, their animation literally speeds up, which the animation is kind of the limiting factor of a lot of Pokemon where Red Emblems and Muscle Band just sometimes can't even get past. So anyway, that was a very nerdy statement, but for those of you who listen to this podcast for that stuff, you're welcome. Here we are. So that's what we're doing. Okay, right on here now. So first Pokemon that got changed, Dragapult. Got some nerfs. The critical chance did get lowered, and the Phantom Force attack speed got decreased. It went from 100% attack speed increase to 85%. So you just have a little bit less burst as soon as you come out of your Phantom Force, and your crit chance doesn't start kicking in, or it does. It always started kicking in at level 5, but it's just decreased. I don't know. I think it's fine. Like, Dragapult wasn't really seeing competitive play, but it was kind of a ranked demon. Be toned down, fine. Any big thoughts on Dragapult?
Yeah, there is no reason to touch it.
Okay, yeah, you think it was fine? Where it was at?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Bridget, thoughts on Dragapult?
Don't hate a Dragapult nerf, but now that Mewtwo Y is back, it's kind of like I'm not going to see a Dragapult ever again. Like
that is a good point.
So I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Bridget, talk to me about this Hyper Beam nerf. The cooldown is now being increased from 10 seconds to 11.5 seconds.
You know, we don't see it a lot here, and I mean, we see it sometimes, but it is the theme of the patches. It is baffling what they decided to nerf and what they didn't decide to nerf.
Correct.
Like, I don't wholly disagree with this, but it's hard to be like, oh, this is cool when so many other things that I feel like were so much worse are just untouched. So it's just like, why? Why? Like, I don't think this was really necessary at all. But
ding ding ding.
Yeah, Dupesex, you're with that same sentiment?
Well, okay, so Dragonite's Hyper Beam, are you truly using it like on objective rip secure twice? You know what I mean? Like, unless you're kicking off the fight. Otherwise, you're literally sandbagging it to secure. So like the 10 to 11 seconds, yes, while technically a nerf for what it's functionally used for, in the competitive environments, it doesn't change anything. So why touch it? Especially when it's a part of the collective that is the rest of this patch.
It feels like the devs just really want us to play Outrage. Like, there was like a couple patches where they were buffing Outrage a bunch.
Tough
and it's like,
luck, friend, because 3 X's on each side, buddy. So they didn't even achieve that.
GG. Yeah, it's so strange. Okay. All right, Crustle. Crustle somehow got a nerf, and it's mowing the limelight once, finally. And its X-Scissor got nerfed. I've been playing a lot of Crustle in ranked lately. I played it a lot last season. I was really enjoying it. I felt like I was really hitting my groove. X-Scissor got a damage nerf. Now, I was talking on my stream before the patch actually went live. We were like going through the patch notes. I didn't... If we didn't include all of the EX Pokemon being reintroduced and some of the wild out there buffs that we got, I don't think this change is like super bad. Like, we toned down Crustle's defense to make it more of just like a lockdown specific defender, and maybe that allows Pokemon like Goodra or Snorlax to kind of rise up the ranks. Sure, I get it, but like, it is just, I don't know, it's so strange. I do think tanks shouldn't be able to full combo a Pokemon in HP, but now you have to be quicker than a full combo to get a knockout these days with how fast Pokemon can do it. So, I don't know. It seems a little wild. I don't think the nerf was unwarranted. I think it's fine. It does just feel weird that we're already hitting Crustle after he's like just finally shown back up. That's kind of the crazy part to me when we're letting Pokemon like Glaceon run the game for months and months and months and months and months. But is what it is. Leafeon, did it get nerfed? No. Leafeon got a buff to its basic attack by 20% scaling on its attack. It also has a buff to Aerial Ace and Solar Blade. The Solar Blade buff is probably pretty small, but again, it's just why are we touching it? Damage reduction increased from 30 to 40%. Aerial Ace got a cooldown reduction. And of course, I already mentioned the basic attack getting boosted. Deuce next, thoughts on the Leafeon changes?
Fucking cringe. Next.
Okay, great. I think we can agree. Well, we're moving right along, and I think the theme is going to remain the same for the next few scrolls. Welcome back to the game, Zacian. Your EX license is still there, but you are permitted in rank, and guess what? To go alongside it, we are scaling up your raw attack stat into the late game. Early game, it's going relatively similar. Level 1, no change. Level 2, just a 2-point increase. But by the time we get to level 12 and level 13, we're looking at 30 plus base attack state increases. So this Pokemon is all of a sudden meant to be a late game scaling monster. It did have its critical hit nerfed a few patches ago. However, this is ridiculous. Sacred Sword also got a buff, which is just that maybe even more crazy than the attack stat. It got increased from 20% to 30% of its attack stat damage, and it ignores 5 additional percent of the defenses that it did before. Cooldown reduced on Metal Claw. Whatever, they keep trying to make Metal Claw good. Whatever, honestly, everything else just seems so crazy. Woof. And not because that's what the sound Zacian makes. This is wild. Bridget, thoughts on Zacian entering back into the game with a buff?
Why? Like, why? Did they just, like, press buttons? Like...
Well, let's be honest.
Didn't they put out a letter, like, apologizing for doing this? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, Bridget, let's be honest. It's probably because Zacian didn't hold a candle to Mewtwo or Miraidon. Like, that's the reason.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's correct.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying these are good decisions. I am saying that is most likely the logic behind this change, which is... yuck. I had too low of a win rate on ranked. Good point, Gamma. Are we going to standards for data? Is that where we're balancing this game from? Is it high-level standard play? Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Thoughts on this change, Dubes, next? You are muted, I think.
I can't muster words to roll out of my face to speak to, like, Bridget's right. What buttons? Are they spinning a wheel?
It's a pretty specific.
Yeah, Like, that's the thing I still don't get. Going back to their own core concept with the EXs. Okay, we gotta buff Zacian because it doesn't hold a candle to Mewtwo and Miraidon. And then not limit the EX licenses. The whole point of making them EXs. And then they went back and hot fixed it. That's the Banana Lands. Yeah. That's crazy. The one thing they messed up because they forgot to toggle it on was the best mistake they made in the patch. And that's the thing that they go, you know what, YOLO strats, we need the whole team back in here to flip this shit on because that's what the kids want. Who are they talking to?
The audacity to apologize for that too. We're so sorry that we didn't allow the EX license in rank.
We'll fix this bug immediately.
I would have rather they had a fucking meme, which was that little girl looking like evilly into the camera as the house is on fire, and just say, "We're switching it on," and like at least it's self-aware at that point. At least we know somebody is reading things somewhere. Like there's so many free resources. There's so many people that work on this game out of the passion of it, and that they pay. That could be like that idea. So one more time to make sure I understood. Okay, I'll repeat it back to you for proper communication. Yeah, that idea is dog shit, and we probably need to rework it before it hits the floor because nobody's gonna like it, and we're all gonna step in it and smell like crap. Like, it's insane. I'm like going, like I'm getting more mad going through this.
Yeah.
And then they buff Blissey back up, which was like the proponent killer #1 with Mewtwo that was in its pocket. It's like, you know what people love? Mewtwo Blissey, baby. Crank Blissey back up. Get eggs? Not today. Safeguard helping hand, because we giving it out to everybody.
Dude, maybe this is just a situation where all of the Mewtwo and Blissey players who were enjoying the game when they were able to dominate by just pressing the A button, they all left the game. And the devs panicked. We gotta get them back. We gotta get those players back. We gotta bring them back up. And of course, podcast listeners, we are looking at the patch notes in front of us. And of course, right in front of us is the Blissey buffs. Helping Hand got buffed. Movement speed and attack speed increased from 25% to 30%. So a slight boost with both movement and attack speed. Safeguard getting a buff. I genuinely think the Safeguard changes are cool and good. I'm a fan, but I'm also not a support player. So Bridget, talk to me. How are you feeling about the Blissey changes? In context of this patch, they sting for sure. But overall, how are we? I mean, I feel like Blissey could use some help, but how do you feel?
I do agree with you, Jinx. I feel like
Okay.
they nerfed Helping Hand Safeguard like too hard, because
Uh-huh.
I have a gold badge on Blissey. I've played a lot of Blissey, and there were times, especially into Buzzwole, who is so dominant right now.
Right.
Yeah, you have to get to level 4 to get Safeguard, but there were times if I was laning against the Buzzwole and he was like annoying me enough, I would play Safeguard just to like make his day worse, you know? Like,
Sure.
there were times I would pick it over eggs pre-nerf or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But since it got nerfed, it just never even felt worth it, like even a little bit.
Yeah. True.
I did play, I think, one game of it on when rank reset last night, but I think I lost. So,
So obviously
Like,
not enough.
we'll do more research.
Okay. Yeah. Come back to us.
I agree with
Yeah.
I agree with London Bridge here. Like, in a vacuum, is this probably a positive for Blissey? Sure. Like,
Yeah.
we'll see how good it
Yeah.
actually is, but that's looking at it in a vacuum. But you can't look at this thing in a vacuum because there's other shit on this patch note, like on this patch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you
It
can't do
feels-
that. You can't even take each thing for what it's trying to do, because all of it is a crime scene.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
oh, well, if we can focus on this one fingerprint, we're going to solve the murder, without realizing that the murder was done like 50 fucking people, and you need to figure them all out. And there's just blood everywhere with thumbprints everywhere. So yeah, it'd be nice if you could focus on this one thumbprint, but it's a crime scene across the board. And then you have people walking around with dirty ass shoes on, so you can't even figure that out. That's not good. You can't do it. You
This is
can't do it.
the best analogies I've ever heard in my life. Yes. Oh my word. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go in with that exact sentiment, Dearest, next to my Trevenant changes, because they buffed my beloved Curse and Pain Split. Great. They did nerf Woodhammer. I will say the cooldown increase from 7 seconds to 8.5 seconds. Absolutely noticeable, like significantly. If you're running the grass build like Woodhammer Hornleech, if you Hornleech and are expecting the Woodhammer immediately after, think again. Because you are full combo, you're just sitting there like, oh no. I pushed them all into my team and I have no way to stop these fools. It is bad. I think it's just gonna be, we have to relearn how to play around it. I do think Woodhammer's stuns are kind of ridiculous and how wide it hits, so it's still a relevant move, but it hurts the Pokemon for sure. Curse did get buffed. I feel like Curse is genuinely a real move. The problem is, until draft, I think it's so hard to pick this move. If they are playing a melee comp, Curse is sick. If they have multiple, they're playing a double poke, this move's pathetic. So it's really tough to play into blind pick. It did get increased 41% of attack to 50% of attack, and the base also got increased. The detonation got increased quite a bit, 164% of scaling to 200% scaling. Great. The slowing effect, I think, is the biggest buff to Curse. When you were at above 70 HP, it's now 10%. When you're below 40%, it's an 18% slowing effect. And when you combo that with the Pain Split speed boost you get while attached to an enemy, it's really, really strong. So that build is fine. Early game is actually pretty good. It gives you a decent level 5, but when you have access to Curse. But other than that, a little bit of a miss. Okay, let's move on to the next Pokemon. The one that I think we all kind of expected we'd be molding about the most when we heard about this was obviously, it is Meowscarada, our next up Battle Pass buff, which they've never been shy about these, but here we are again. Meowscarada, the most recent Battle Pass, looks pretty good.
I would pray. I would jump in my time machine right now and go back before this patch. If I could change the texture of this thing to have the biggest complaint coming out of this patch to be they buffed Meowscarada because it's getting the battle pass.
Yes.
Like, I wish that was the biggest complaint we had here. But now it's not even on the radar. It doesn't even register. It's like, oh, you gave me a paper cut, but I got a gunshot wound to my stomach. It's like I got other stuff to deal with right now. So like, is the paper cut great? No, but like I got other stuff happening.
Yeah. Bridget,
No,
have you played against or seen any Meowscarada play out there, or played it yourself?
I actually do want to try Meowscarada. I always say that, but we'll see. I have played, I don't know if I've played against one, but my duo was playing it last night, and it is very strong. Trailblaze, I think, is what they juiced.
Yeah, Trailblaze got a half-second cooldown reduction, so 7 to 6.5, so not terrible there. Double Team also got a cooldown reduction, a full second on that one, so from 9 down to 8. And Night Slash got a 1-second cooldown reduction as well. I think the biggest damage, the only damage change from Meowscarada received was to its Unite, and it also gets its Unite faster, which I think is one of the biggest changes to Meowscarada. But
yeah.
The biggest change really sorry, Bridge, to cut you off, but I must say the biggest change I'm seeing on screen right now is that we are recording Overdunk. That's the biggest thing that I've noticed.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. All right. Well, I mean, it's just kind of a sentiment that we're feeling.
I'm glad I saw that because it actually like made me chuckle and bring me joy, so I wanted to share that with everybody at home.
Overdunk. Okay, hold on. I'll fix it.
Overdunk. We're innovating.
Overdunk. Okay, I got it. I fixed it.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
Overdunk. Okay. Yeah, Meowscarada getting some changes, but Bridget, you think it's a relevant threat again? I mean, it was good before, right? But
I thought it was. Oh, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, is Trailblaze Night Slash the move now, or is it? Or do you still think Double Team Flower Trick's kind of the angle?
I am kind of a Night Slash Trailblaze believer. I think. Okay. I mean, the decreased cooldown on Double Team is definitely nice, I'm sure, and like. What's the Flower Bomb, whatever the Flower Trick it was always super duper strong. I thought I was definitely like no Meowscarada buff, but yeah, like Doomsack said, I was like kind of bummed when I first saw it, and then I saw everything else, and I was like, well,
who cares?
Maybe we need this to defeat the evil EX licenses.
That's true.
Like, I don't know, man.
Battle Pass Meowscarada could be our hero. I hope so.
Yeah, I need it.
Okay, these next two Pokemon are genuinely some of the best things out of the patch, in my opinion. So, Pikachu Electro Ball is getting buffed. Its Execute increase. So, 4% damage to 6% of enemy missing HP. Electro Ball Plus, 5% to 8% of enemy missing HP. Great. A better last hit tool. I like that a lot. Volt Tackle, getting an increase to its damage, base, and scaling. Up by just a little bit, but still, Pikachu becoming relevant again is good. This Pokemon's just kind of been outclassed in every way for mages. There's a few players that are kind of the tried and true Pikachu believers, but for the most part, this Pokemon has not really been relevant. Maybe these buffs are enough to make it relevant one day when EX licenses aren't allowed in ranked. But maybe at a competitive level, we might see a little bit more Pikachu attacker, which would be kind of cool. It's not going to contend with Secures with Inteleon or anything like that, but maybe the Volt Tackle stun will be enough in the right kind of composition. So, hopefully, be the days of old where we're running like double stun in bot path, like Cramorant Snorlax. Who knows? We'll return to the glory days with Pikachu Volt Tackle. We can be true believers. But this next change, I think, is kind of crazy. I think Gyarados is a real Pokemon again. Gyarados getting a lot of changes. I'm not going to read them all out, but basically, early game, the passive and Flail both doing quite well for Magikarp. A big damage boost in a lot of those, especially for Flail when you are below that 33% HP threshold, or you do extra damage. And Waterfall getting a crazy buff. Waterfall cooldown reduction of 2 seconds. Aqua Tail cooldown reduction of 3 seconds. That 3-second cooldown reduction in a MOBA is wild. That is a huge change. And then, of course, the energy requirement for the Unite move even farther down, and the cooldown decreased as well. So, pretty wow. I mean, Gyarados definitely receiving a ton of changes. Have either of you two had the pleasure of seeing or playing against Gyarados at all?
Not very much.
Okay.
But it does seem better, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't noticed it very much. But
okay, fair enough. I mean, it's hard to see through everything else, but
I've heard people like it more now.
Yes.
So good for them. Good for them.
Believers. Yeah, I think I saw like a Stockings tweet about how like Gyarados is like a real Pokemon now. So I mean, that's got me sold. But how about you, Dupe Snacks? Any thoughts to the Gyarados changes?
I mean, I'm here for it, especially on the water set. I kind of like specific, like the one thing that like bums me about the buffs is I do think that the coordination and price payoff to get Magikarp to Gyarados was a really cool mechanic. And while I can see it, hey, you want to get people there a little bit quicker. I hope it's not too quick now to the becoming the point of being oppressive. But I'm glad to give it a chance. Like, I think it's neat. I think having Gyarados be an active thing in the game is terrific. I think it naturally brings value from other Pokemon, you know, just from personal experience, specifically like Sableye, right? Because you can thieve away all its coins and play safe, and then you can really keep Magikarp from getting online for 3 straight minutes. Just and force it to do it the hard way, going and attacking wild Pokemon safely on this side of the map, which is not ideal for anybody on the team. So I think collectively Gyarados warps the game in a pretty interesting way. Just interested to see how these Magikarp to Gyarados transitions work out. But for now, I'm for it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to see it. I totally agree with you, though. I hope we never get to the point where the early game you don't really have to think about. Like that's what I think the mechanic and gimmick around Gyarados is. Like, as long as you have to kind of play in a specific way and have a strategy of how you're going to get to Gyarados, I think it's a success. And we don't really know if that's still the case or not, but hopefully it still is. Either way, the Aqua Tail Waterfall buffs are enough to get me genuinely excited about the Pokemon. Delphox, Fire Spin got buffed. Woo!
Why not at this point?
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't seem like that crazy of a relevant change to me. I mean, 4% extra scaling and 20% or 20 base stat. It's not huge, but whatever. It's just very strange that we're seeing the Delphox change. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Okay, this is the next one. Mewtwo X and Y got their PTS change onto live server, which is technically a nerf to their passive pressure, which allows them to Mega Evolve. The Mega Evolution duration has decreased from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. Great change on paper. Requires approximately 5 energy per additional second. Even if you don't have enough Eos energy, including 0, all the energy you will be consumed. So essentially, if you have 25 Eos energy and you Mega Evolve, you will consume all of them to return to a 15-second Mega Evolution duration. I don't hate this. I welcome it. Like, if we're going to have a Pokemon that acts this way, I want there to be a significant drawback for basically going sicko mode in game. I genuinely think you could bring the Mega Evolution duration down to 5 seconds and have the additional 5 energy for additional seconds still be consuming and have a max of 10 seconds. And please change its Unite move, but whatever. The fact that this is all that Mewtwo X and Y got, particularly Y. I genuinely think X is just kind of fine. Like, Mewtwo X just feels good, but not insane. I don't know, maybe I'm really off base there, but
no,
Y
I agree
is the
with
ridiculous
that.
one.
I think X's. I mean, the Unite move is still extremely cringe, but I have heard from my Mewtwo players that X feels like the worst EX license.
Oh, by far. Yeah, why would you play Mewtwo X when you could play Station? But if you could play both, maybe.
Yeah. Then what do I know?
Yeah. Thoughts on the changes, Bridget?
I do like that they did this. Was my copium going into them
Yeah,
allowing
I remember
EXs
this.
back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this was my copium. I was like, Zacian's already gutted. They're gonna do this to Mewtwo. Like, it'll just be Miraidon that's gonna suck, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Now we got Blissey up.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Doomsex, you want to throw any sense towards this Mewtwo change?
Bridget nailed it. I'm with Bridget.
Fair enough. Okay, moving along. Metagross has got some bug fixes, but kind of hidden amongst those bug fixes was technically a buff. The Unite move gives an extra 10% shield when using the Unite move. Sure, that's fine. I don't think it's really a problem for Metagross, whatever. It also fixed the bug where I think Metagross would have, like, you would save like 60 or 70% of your Unite cooldown or something every time you used it. It was kind of crazy. Absol and Blaziken also receiving bug fix, but we don't really talk about this too much. But anyways, that brings us to the end of our patch. It was certainly a patch of all time. We have all kind of share those sentiments, but hidden amongst the turds, like we said, there are some shining sparks, but it is just so hard to look for those because it really has been a rough patch. I really hope that this gets changed soon because they've shown that they're willing to fix things. Mewtwo lasted a horrifically long time though, and that's a pretty scary precedent to be staring down.
Definitely.
Yeah, especially with the announcement that Phalanx is going to be, well, it wasn't even announced, but I think Phalanx was like data mined release date is like still 2 months away. It's like end of April. But
they did say it in the direct.
Oh, was it the date released? Okay, I didn't know.
For Phalanx, but for Ceruledge it just said like TBD.
Got it. Yeah. Yes, Ceruledge in game now. It's kind of cool, but in the public or data mine in the public test server, whatever. But yeah, Phalanx is just going to be 2 months away, so quite a long time until we're seeing a new Pokemon. Hopefully, we see a couple of balance changes amongst those times at least. But I guess we'll have to see. I don't know. I guess that's where we're at this point. Is there? Jeez, it feels weird to be ending an episode on a note like this, but I mean, that's the patch and that's the game that we're kind of having to deal with. I'm excited for UCS. I am glad that Battle Hub got to do their tournament today for EU, that implemented the new 2-ban system, and it seems to be successful. I think if you're listening to this podcast, you most likely already follow and enjoy competitive Unite, and if that's the case, I think this change is going to be really cool for the competitive scene and what we can look forward to in terms of strategy, more Pokemon shown, and more skill shown, even in draft lobby. So I'm excited for all that, but it is tough to put a smile on with everything else going on. But yeah, I think that'll bring us to the end of our episode. Bridget, anything to sell out, shout out, anything like that before we close up shop here?
Not really. I will be trying my best to keep my mental together to get to 1400, but
cool.
We're gonna see how it goes.
Sounds good. Yeah, see her on ladder. If you play with Bridget on ladder, be the Blissey to whatever carry she's trying to be, okay? Do us all a favor.
Yeah.
Same goes for Doom Snacks, of course, in game, but also Doom Snacks. Anything to shout out before we close up shop?
Yeah, obviously I'm having a difficult time processing this particular patch and the changes they've elected to make. It is something I hope comes off that I'm pretty passionate about. That being said, competitive does whip ass. It is the best aspect of this game, not even particularly close. I'm glad that that's the side of the game that I'm stitched in very deeply. So I do have a lot of faith and excitement for that in UCS. I will put that there. Second thing I'm going to do is when we hop off from here, I'm going to jump into the one of these servers. I'm going to find a bunch of demons. I'm going to go be Omega Cringe and comfy on a Zacian or something until I can get to 1400 and play a real game. Because unfortunately, I'm not on a competitive team because I focus on casting, of course. So for me, the one shining ray of light I have is to actually get to 1400 where we can have some fun again. But until then, I will be an absolute destructive force with other people on this ladder and, just absolutely ruin people's time because that's the collateral damage we're in. And if I'm not going to have fun pressing the buttons until I get to 1400, winning will be the one thing that will bring me joy. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, but I love you all. And also follow at Big Bridget on Twitter.
It's true. Make sure to get that. Yeah, that
I'm
new ad.
making memes. I'm cooking.
Sick.
It's a lot of complaining.
Yeah, let's look forward to competitive, everybody. I think it's going to be awesome. I hope we can all make it through. We're all hoping for changes sooner rather than later. If I'm going to say any piece of advice, be nice to your streamers. They are trying to make content on this game. They're trying to create stuff, and it'll be tough for streamers who are kind of bought into playing this game more hours than just a casual fan will. They're gonna have to go through a pretty tough meta. So be kind out there, everybody. To your fellow teammates and to the people you watch. One thing I do want to plug, though, before the end of the episode is something I'm pretty excited about. Bridget's going to be on this. Doomsnacks may be there from time to time, potentially. Every second Thursday, we are starting a tabletop role-playing game, similar to Dungeons & Dragons, not Dungeons & Dragons. It is a teenage superhero game called Masks. Me, Bridget, and a few other Pokemon Unite or Pokemon-related people will be playing it over on Ego Socialist Frog's Twitch channel. On every second Thursday in the evening. So if you want to go take a look at that, it'd be super cool. We'll probably plug it a little bit more as we do our first episode or two and kind of get that out there. But if you're interested in the role-playing game sphere at all, or superheroes, or just watching a few Pokemon friends have a good time playing a make-believe game, it's going to be an awesome spot. So I hope you all tune in. It'll be fun. But I hope we see you all on the next episode of Underdunk, Overdunk, whatever it is, or Overdunk. Overdunk, oh no. Ogredunk, whatever it may be.
Overdunk?
Overdunk will be back next week, no matter how the meta shakes up. We'll see you all then. Goodbye, everybody. Be kind to each other. See ya.